Earth would be covered with water. We would have a planet Earth that was like a bad Kevin Costner film. The flip side is, you could imagine the Earth with too little water. In that case, we would have a desert world. And so our planet Earth could have been a water world or a desert world, and so it might be for other Earths. The precise amount of water might be crucial for a civilization to have both continents, where you can do electronics and build radio telescopes like Dan does, and the water that's crucial for life. You have to have the dry land as well as the water to build technology as we know it. Now, what about Darwinian evolution? Well, it is in fact a very important discovery in the evolutionary biology world that species do not get smarter with time. The dinosaurs roamed the Earth for 200 million years, and their brains never evolved above the size of a chicken, with all due respect to my chickens at my house. Dinosaurs did not get smarter. Every dinosaur egg that hatched yielded a new generation of dinosaurs, and those new baby dinosaurs competed perfectly well in their environment against the other dinosaurs without having to be smarter than the last generation of dinosaurs. Brains didn't help, and they don't help for dolphins, they don't help for cats. The mammal explosion 60 million years ago didn't yield smart cats. Insects haven't gotten brainier over time. Flies don't do algebra, and my cats at home don't play Chopin on the piano. So cats haven't gotten smarter, dogs haven't gotten smarter. Intelligence is simply not a favored attribute of species that is selectively and monotonically increasing with time, demonstrably so. And then finally, the L word. It is a worry that civilizations, in fact, might spring up with intelligence and technology. Maybe our galaxy could have had 1,000 of them, as we would predict. But if the lifetime of those civilizations with their technology is only a few millions of years, then they might wink on and wink out in a blink of an eye, so that over the 10 billion year lifetime of the galaxy, yeah, there were civilizations, but most of them have come and gone, like lights on a Christmas tree popping in, brightening, and then dimming. So that's another possible reason we aren't seeing them out there. So I'll finish with a tribute to Dan and remind you that it's in fact the search for extraterrestrial intelligence that's the most important thing. We can argue all we want and debate and even disagree, but what really counts is getting data. And the best way we know of is to build really large telescopes, cost a lot of money, and to actually search for the radio and television signals, maybe other wavelengths as well, to determine if in fact our galaxy has a paucity of advanced technological life, as I would suspect it does. And so I'll leave you with these phone home points. First, I do agree, as Dan predicted, I do think primitive life, single-celled life is common. I can't see why the amino acids and the proteins that are numerous in our galaxy wouldn't form replicating molecules and eventually simple-minded life. But technological life, I'm more dubious about. I think that stable, suitable Earths might well be quite rare. I think that Darwinian evolution does not lead necessarily to folks like us. The non-detections of SETI and other techniques, the Moon, Mars, the Earth, are building up. And I think it's quite possible, I would even bet, if I had to bet, that the nearest technological civilization is over 100 light years away, and even probably 1,000 light years away. So I'll stop there.
Thank you. Okay, Dan Werthimer has 5 minutes.
Okay, rebuttal. Can you switch my projector, please? So Geoff talked a little bit about environmental stability, that may be a rare thing to have something at a constant temperature for a long time. I think maybe that's rare, but I think creatures do adapt to climate change. On Earth, there were ice ages. The climate has fluctuated quite a bit over billions of years. On Earth, the environment was very different when life started. There was no oxygen here. Now there's oxygen. So creatures adapt to changes. You don't need an environment that's stable. And there are, if you did, there are examples of stable environments in our own solar system. There are planets and moons in our own solar system that we think have had stable environments for billions of years. So I don't really buy that argument. And then Geoff talked about he talked about that. Do you need a really long time for life to evolve? Well, on Earth, it's true. It took 4 billion years to get to where we are in this auditorium. But that may be the end of the distribution. Maybe some life evolves much faster than that. Robert Forward wrote about, he was a science fiction guy, but he wrote about life that evolves on a neutron star, where things happen billions of times faster at nuclear speeds rather than atomic speeds. So you can imagine life evolving in days or weeks rather than billions of years. And there are planets and moons where life, just regular kind of life like us might evolve much faster. For instance, if the environment is changing a lot, if there's climate change or chemical changes, then life has to adapt much more rapidly, and it may evolve much quicker. So there may be times when it takes a lot longer, but there may be times when it's much shorter as well. So Earth may be out at the edge of the distribution. Maybe it's more like 1 billion years. We really don't know. Geoff talked about this idea that the Fermi paradox, which I want to get to here, is that we haven't seen any alien spacecraft. It would be easy to conquer the galaxy making these self-replicating probes. That's the Fermi paradox, and I want to talk a little bit about that. That was Enrico Fermi, the famous physicist, talking with Edward Teller and Herbert York and other people over lunch, and he's saying, hey, if there are these advanced civilizations, why aren't they here? And the idea that there are advanced civilizations and they could be zooming around the galaxy and we should have seen them already. And the fact that we haven't seen them says we are alone. And this is Geoff and I are not the first people to talk about this. There's some interesting books about this, and there's a lot of fun things. There's a book I like, If the Universe is Teeming with Aliens, Where is Everybody? 50 Solutions to the Fermi Paradox and the Problem of Extraterrestrial Life. So one possibility is that space travel is hard, that it takes a lot of energy. Maybe there are advanced civilizations, but to go between the stars, that's a big deal, and we haven't the faintest idea how to do that. Maybe it's harder than we think. Another possibility that Geoff touched on was that maybe they're not interested in traveling. You and I like to travel, but maybe other creatures are poets, and they're not really explorers, and they stay at home. Maybe they study things. They have big telescopes, and they know we're here, but they don't want to visit. Another possibility is they destroy themselves. Geoff talked about this too, that civilizations may blow themselves up and then they're going to be very rare. But I actually think that maybe some blow themselves up, but not all civilizations are going to blow themselves up. And right now, we could blow ourselves up, but with the kind of technology we have now, we could maybe wipe out all of humanity. If we fired off all our nuclear weapons, we might be able to do that. But actually, it wouldn't take very long for life to pop up again. So it's hard to wipe out all life on Earth. So we could just maybe wipe out humans. But I think that gorillas and chimps would evolve then and take our places. And so it may happen a few times that life wipes itself out, and then we get humans again or something intelligent, then it wipes itself out. But eventually you get maybe life that learns to live in peace. Another possibility, a way out of the Fermi paradox, if you watch Star Trek, you know about the Prime Directive. The Prime Directive says maybe you have very advanced civilizations out there, but they don't go meddling around with primitive civilizations like ours. And so maybe they know about us. They've got very sophisticated technologies. They've seen smog in our atmosphere, and they've seen oxygen in our atmosphere, and they're saying, hey, these guys are still killing each other. Let's stay away. Maybe when we get a little more sophisticated, they're going to get in touch with us. Anyway, that's the kind of the notion of the Prime Directive. And I think that there may be a scenario out there. There may be a whole galactic club out there, lots of civilizations talking to each other, but they don't bother with primitive civilizations like us. Maybe they're in our database. We're in their database, with millions of other civilizations, but we're not going to communicate with them until it gets a little easier. Okay, so I think we're going to have a chance to thank people, but let me just make sure that we thank two people, Andrew Simeon and James Anderson there, who are broadcasting this video out to